Hi, I'm author Lucy McConnell.
And I'm author Erica Penrod.
And I'm your host, Shaylee Dymock. This is Angels Unscripted, where we talk all things angels. Did you know you have angels all around you? Join us as we talk books, friendship, romance, family, and more to discover the unscripted angels in your life.
Hello, and welcome back to Angels Unscripted Podcast. I'm author Lucy McConnell, and I'm here with
author Erica Penrod.
Our host, Shaylee Dymock, is out because she had surgery, and we're just going to ask you all for prayers. She had her tonsils removed, which is awful. And so, we'll take all the prayers we can get for her quick healing so we can get her back here doing this, and we don't have to do it without her anymore.
I feel like this is our first episode because I'm nervous and don't know what's going on because Shaylee's not here to
I'm like, I don't know how to
tell
do this.
us what to do.
I don't do intros. That's Shaylee.
I know. We miss you, Shaylee.
I know. Now we have this list of questions to go over that Shaylee so graciously provided us with. So we're not going too far off. She has given us a little bit of direction, actually a lot of direction. So thankfully, we still have her kind of in the background, but we do miss her today.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about Angel Institute book number 7 right here, which is Noah. And Noah's theme is self-worth. So also it is Thanksgiving week,
Yay.
Which is awesome. So
my favorite week of the year.
Is it?
Really my favorite week of the year.
Yeah, like 2.5 work days.
Yes.
The whole rest of the
it's
weekend.
just like the build up to all of the holidays. And so I love like having 2 days to kind of get excited and get things in order. Yeah. And then it's holiday and food. And I love to go to movies, and we get our Christmas tree the next weekend. So it really is my favorite week of the year.
So I don't know if I ever told you. When I was in high school, I worked at a movie theater, and I volunteered to work Thanksgiving Day.
I don't think you've ever told me that.
I volunteered to work Thanksgiving Day because we got time and a half, and I was like on my way to college, so I was like, I need all the money I can get. And anyway, so I worked Thanksgiving, and it was actually a really fun day to work at the theater. But my family was so sweet. They brought me a plate of Thanksgiving dinner to eat while I was on my break.
Cool.
So
yeah.
I didn't get left out totally of the turkey. So that was good. But yeah. So.
Well, I did not know that about you. I'm like, we've been friends for quite some time, and I don't think I knew that.
I also worked in a shoe store at one point. We can talk about that later.
Okay. No, I did not know that either.
I know. High school jobs, right? Okay, but you just got back from a trip.
Yes,
so
I
tell us
did.
about the trip.
I went to Florida with my mom and my sisters. We have never done a girls' trip before like this, or to this scale.
Yeah.
And we had it planned for the first part of October, and then there was a hurricane. So I ended up switching the trip for last week, which also happened to be the same week I went to North Carolina. So I went to North Carolina for 4 days, flew home for 5 hours, woke up, got on a plane, went to Florida with my mom and my sisters, and we went to Universal Studios. And it was so much fun. The weather could not have been any better.
That's awesome.
Like, it was not hot and not humid, but just shorts and lovely and beautiful. So I think it worked out. I think it was one of those things where it was really challenging at the time when we had to change the trip, but it worked out really good. And then you were asking me earlier, like, what was one of my favorite parts of the trip?
Favorite part.
And I told her that my sister, as we were going through all the Harry Potter stuff, because that's why we really wanted to go to Universal Studios.
Wait, isn't your mom like a fan?
Because my mom's a huge Harry Potter fan.
And she'd never been.
Oh my gosh. And so I was like, we have to go to Florida. Because that's to see the two parks. And they're opening the third park this summer with another Harry Potter ride. So we have to go back. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, I know. Dang it. But while we were there, my sister said, as we were walking through all the, Diagon Alley and riding the train and all the things, she said, isn't this amazing that we get to do this because one woman shared her story or used her talents to share this story with us and create this world that, like, all these years later we get to enjoy. And so it just really resonated with me as an author, because that's what I want to do, is give people a story that they can just escape from life and enjoy things and, just get away, and just how great Harry Potter world is because of her sharing that story and
Yeah,
building that
and her
world with
talent.
us. Yes.
And not giving up when it got hard.
And not giving up, yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many times she was turned down when she submitted Harry Potter, but
I don't know either. But
it was enough to discourage somebody.
Yes.
I mean, one rejection letter is enough to discourage somebody, but to get several is just horrible. So, yeah, which is a good lead-in to our story of Noah today, because Noah is he is a talented artist who does not believe in himself. It's not that he doesn't believe that he has talent, because he does, but he doesn't believe in the good that talent could give the world, if that makes sense. Yeah. I should hand you this paper, actually. As I'm like, don't take over Shaylee's job completely.
Well, I think that a lot of times people that are really talented don't realize the gift that they could give the world by sharing that talent.
Yeah.
I think we acknowledge that we all have little talents here and there, but we often think, but it's not as great as so-and-so's talent. It's not important. So is that something that Noah is struggling with? Like, he recognizes he has a talent?
Yeah, and he loves... So his is a lot of drawing, art kind of work. Painting, things like that. And he does it as a side job. He actually owns the skating rink skate rental down by the pond, if you guys have read any of the other books, and they've been skating or ice skating at the pond. In one of my other ones, we had the firefighters had the ice games on the pond. So anyway, so Noah owns the ice skating rink rental trailer thing. That's his day job. That's stable.
Characters visit that.
Have you been there before?
Yes, we have visited the shoe rental before.
Yes. So he, but that's his like stability. And his parents are not at all creative minded. They are very practical. They're both like accountants. They're all that left brain. And so for them, Noah was this troubled child who wanted to draw pictures on his math sheets instead of answer the math questions and things like that. So he grew up in an environment where he was misunderstood in a lot of ways. So they pushed him to do something that was steady and reliable and would provide an income. But it also denied so much of who and what he is, that it created this dissonance in his life, and therefore the lack of self-esteem or confidence in his own talent. Because when the people who raise you don't value your talent, you don't. Like, you follow that example. And so I think that's for a lot of people who are just different from the rest of their families, that's a thing. I have to say my family is super supportive about like my writing and stuff. My mom is my like last person to read everything before it goes out. She's wonderful. And I know your mom's read a lot of the angel books too, like your angel books. She's a reader for those. And so that's honestly an amazing thing. And then you were talking about in another podcast, your grandparents supporting you and being writers. So so it's, but I could see where if you didn't have that, it would be very easy to push it aside and minimize.
As you're talking about, or you're saying that, I'm like thinking of each of my children, and I'm like, wait a minute. Did I supporting? Did
I encourage them in all the ways
their dreams?
Yeah, right.
But as a parent, sometimes it's a balance of like, be practical, or but you're also wanting them to chase their dreams. So it's finding that balance, and I can see that.
But I think there's enough people in the world that have enough different talents that if everybody was able to follow their own, for example, we have a friend whose daughter has special needs and she loves doing laundry. And she's good at it, and she loves to do it. And I think they've found ways for her to develop that talent, which I think is amazing, because that is valuable, honestly. Like, being able to do things well is really great. There's I've known teachers that have an amazing talent to connect to students. I've known, and those are some of the easy ones. And it's like when they have talent shows, and I was always like the kid that was like, I don't have a talent, because it's not something I can do in front of people. It's not a performing talent. Right. And so we all think, oh, I'm not talented. Well, it's not that you're not talented. It's that yours isn't a stage talent. So, and you have an incredible skill of organizing. In fact, I was going to see if you had like 20 minutes to go hit the stock room and see what you could do, because I have blown through there the last couple of days while you've been out of town, and it's pretty bad.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. But but yeah, that's definitely a talent you have that
Right.
people wouldn't say, oh, that's something I could put on stage and do in a talent show, but I'm like, it is invaluable in, you know, the other situations and things. So yeah.
And I think through like as I've grown older and have recognized my own talents, I have really come to understand and realize that God gives everybody very distinct talents, and he gives them for a reason.
Yeah.
He wants you to use them and make the world better through those talents. He can express himself through you. And for a long time, like the organizing, that was something I was almost embarrassed about, because I was this crazy little girl who always loved to clean her room and wished her mom would send her to her room to clean her room, because
your mom's like, don't go in there. She's like, you're grounded from your room.
Yes, like I was like, please send me to my room and tell me I have to clean it.
Tell me I have to clean it.
I just grew up. I mean, I just came that way. I loved it and had recognized it as a kid, and so for a long time, I felt like it was almost something I needed to hide and to be embarrassed about. And it wasn't until a few years ago when I realized, wait, I think I can help people with this talent. I think God wants me to use this talent. And so I know that each of us have very distinct talents and that we should use them. And then hopefully as parents, we're encouraging them.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go home and like reevaluate everything.
You're going to go home and ground all your kids to their rooms and be like, go see if you have a talent in there.
It would not be a reward for them.
Well, your daughter designs jewelry and she has a thing in her, so that would be amazing.
I have a silversmith shop in my upstairs right now.
So I mean, you could ground her to that room and it would be the same thing.
I know.
She'd be like,
she would be like,
please.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Hugely talented.
Yes.
So So, and I love what you say about God expressing himself through us, through those talents, no matter what they are. Like, whether it's cooking, baking, cleaning, I mean, accounting, like all the things, people that have the ability to do numbers and stuff, I just am amazed at. Like,
because that's like over my head.
I know. Computer programming, all the things, even reading scripture and understanding and then expounding it is one that I think people like. I love to listen to podcasts and things like that about people explaining things in the scriptures and things. So it's
because some of your comments, like when we go to the library to do some work, and she's like, I was doing a bit of light reading on Jewish holidays. I think we talked about that last time. Or you'll say some random thing and I'm like, wait, what? And
like, did you know that this Hebrew word means this and this?
But it is one of your talents, like your spiritual gifts.
And so
I recognize that. And what I have loved at this point in my life is like your gift doesn't diminish mine.
Right.
And I can celebrate that. I love that you have this beautiful brain that expands on all this scriptural knowledge and love to dig through things like that. And I was like, okay, I'm just basically trying to understand the very basic primary level. So I love that. Okay, so I got a question for you.
Oh yeah, okay.
How does the angel Will, first of all, do you want to introduce Will?
Okay, so Will was my Peter Pan angel. Like perpetually young, perpetually like happy and moving through things, and life is always going to go his way. Even death is going to go his way. He is my Peter Pan. So my image of him in my head is still the like curly mop of hair that hangs down, kind of a boy band haircut that's in his face, bright blue eyes, just like the cartoon Peter Pan that we grew up with from Disney, and just this like exuberance, like for all things being an angel, all things guardian angel, all the stuff. He's just like Mr. like, yes, we're gonna go do this and it's gonna be amazing, and I'm going to look good doing it because of course he's beautiful too. So all the things, like, because everything just kind of works out for Peter Pan.
Right.
So that's Will.
Oh, awesome.
In a nutshell.
Okay, so how does Will help Noah? Like, I mean, putting those two personalities together, how does Will help Noah?
So Will's aware that one of his talents is his overwhelming like optimism at things. So also Will has like a really great ability to speak to animals. So which I kind of think is like an angel thing in general, is to be able to talk to animals. But so for example, Will and his love interest Paige go snowshoeing in the hills outside of town, and so Will is like, he's like throwing all these little critters in front of him so that they're having this amazing little, oh, look, it's a possum. Oh, look, it's a deer. I've never seen deer on this trail before. Where did that even come from? Like, oh my gosh, look at the beautiful bird in the sky. Like, he's just like continually calling them and trying to make this like amazing experience. Like totally romantic, all this, like, I mean, if you're thinking Disney, like, and all the creatures
I was just saying,
yeah.
What is that movie where she has the little singing animals?
Oh, the one where
a lot of there's the singing animals.
I was like, which is Snow White, or it's the one Enchanted.
Enchanted. Yes.
And
that's what I was
and all the rats come
as you were saying that.
Yes, not rats and cockroaches this time. They're like beautiful, cute little woodland creatures, and a fox.
Yeah.
You know, all this stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he's trying to be romantic. Like Will is like, oh well, we'll set this up. Yeah. So he does little things like that throughout the way to kind of make their experiences a little more romantic than they were. Because he didn't think snowshoeing was a really romantic day, but Paige loves it. Paige is an adventurer.
Okay.
She's a YouTube influencer who like goes and experiences things all over the world and does different adventure stuff. So she's all game to go snowshoeing. She's
YouTube or My Heart channel?
My Heart channel, actually.
I thought that just came to mind.
Yeah, she's definitely a My Heart channel. So if for those of you who
are
unaware,
tell people what My Heart channel is.
Erica and I were part of a series 5 years ago.
A long time ago.
It's been a while, called the My Heart channel series. That is basically a YouTube thing, but it's everybody on there they were the same. They were influencers. But we called it My Heart channel because it was a romance book. So if you want to look those up, they're available on Amazon.
I do love
plug.
My Heart channel.
Oh, they were so much fun. I enjoyed those. We'll have to do a whole nother thing about them. Anyway, so Will helps with that. But what Will really helps Noah do is kind of what you've talked about, where God is expressing himself through Noah. There reaches a point where you have to claim your gift. Where you have to say, this is a part of me, this is part of who I am, God made me this way, and I'm going to run with it. Yeah. And Will helps Noah come to that point. So I'll just leave it at that without telling you how and what he does.
Noah get irritated by Will and his
a little bit
happy-go-lucky personality?
Yeah, a little bit. And the fact that he talks to
wondering,
squirrels,
like guys,
like
he could be like, okay, that's a little too much.
I know, yeah. Like Will shows up one day to help out of the blue to help in the trailer, and he's just running around doing things, and Noah's kind of like, I'll step outside. you can work in here, I'll be out there showing a lot, kind of thing. So it's a little bit much for him just because of their personality differences, but it turns out to be a good thing.
Okay, so how does Paige, so you're saying Noah is struggling with his like self-worth or recognizing how important his talent, or that he should put his art out into the world. How does Paige influence him?
So there's something that really, really interesting that happens when a person sees you as the best you. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
So Paige is the gift in his life. And in fact, Will actually gets a little bit jealous of her because she has a little more influence than he does. And so he goes back to his mentor and he's like, why am I even here? He's got Paige. Like, which I think is the first time that I had an angel be jealous of somebody on earth. But it's because she does have just that ability to say the thing or to, you know, when she looks at Noah as though he's of worth, Noah feels it that much more. And I really think that too comes from God.
Yeah.
Like being able to look at people as though they are of worth and talented and have things that God's given them. Therefore, it makes it blossom inside of others. I'm sure we both have known people that have done that.
Right.
And been able to encourage that to come out. And they just inspire you.
Especially if you're struggling with it and then somebody else recognizes it and sees it in you and points it out, you're like, okay, maybe I am on the right track. Because, you know, usually we're like, I know that when I first started writing, I was like, who do you think you are? You don't have any schooling on this. My education wasn't in writing. And so I thought, who am I to say I can write a book? But when others were encouraging me, then I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. And then I started believing in myself more. So
so Paige does a lot of that for Noah. She's and also I have to say there's something for a guy when his woman believes he's capable of something. Very true. Mean, honestly, let's just it really does it having your spouse or girlfriend or whatever look at you as though you're capable makes you feel like Superman. And
Right.
so, which is part of why she has more of an influence than Will, because she does that. But there's that too. And I think we don't understand the power that we can wield with compliments
Right.
or with encouragement
Right.
as females. Like, I feel like it's definitely it is a power. Like, it is literally a power. And so, there's some of that in there too. And she uses it beautifully. She is just a beautiful person. So it was really nice to write her because she's just.
Is there a pivotal moment when you see Noah's like confidence and self-worth really take off? Like, I mean, maybe without giving it all away. It's not one big thing. Is it? It's like just little bits throughout. the story?
There's little things that happen. So what happens? One of the things that happens when Paige is back visiting family, she volunteers the two of them to organize the Christmas parade. Which I'm like, many of my characters have been at the Christmas parade, and so to have the organizers of the parade, all of a sudden, it's kind of fun to get the behind the scenes of how this all came about. And so. But there's things like they're in meetings and they're trying to come up with themes and they're trying to do X, Y, and Z. And Noah, well, what if we did this? And everybody in the committee just runs with it. And he's surprised that they are that interested in something he had to say. And so it emboldens him to be able to be more proactive because he has a healthy, receptive crowd to work with him. And so, and he doesn't realize, and I think a lot of this happens to us too, he doesn't realize that the contributions he's made to the community in the past have been recognized. He just doesn't see what he does as of so much value, but having the skate rental there for the last few years has really helped the community to bond and come out. Like having an activity outside the house when you're a family and all of your kids are little and it's cold outside and like having somewhere to go and do something is huge. Like, and so he's really helped a lot of people and so he just doesn't realize.
Is his George Bailey moment. As you're talking about that, like he doesn't know what he has contributed, what he has done, what he's given over the years, because I think for most people that's our lives, right? It's the little everyday things that we do. It's not like a huge big moment in time that makes a huge difference in the world. It's the living every day, trying to be kind, like you said, offering compliments, just trying to be a good person adds up. And I don't think we realize. I wonder if we will all get a George Bailey moment. I am certain of it when we have our life review. I'm pretty sure we'll all be amazed at the things that we've been able to contribute. So, and I think you're right in that I think a lot of times we think I'm not doing much of anything because I'm not doing anything big. Right. Like I'm not organizing a sub for Santa this Christmas. But, if you're doing those small random acts of kindness while you're out, you're making somebody else's holiday amazing. Like it's just, and it's so fun to do those random ones. Like it is so fun. Okay, I'll have to tell you one. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn because I'm just saying this to encourage other people. I'm like, try this. Just try it. Next time you're at the store. Okay. I was in like the self-checkout area and I was buying like 2 things. And I look over and there was this 13-ish-year-old boy and he was like, Mom, I'm $1 short. Like, and he was buying a gift for a sibling. And she was like, honey, and she was trying to do like her whole grocery cart and he's already checking out. And she's like, I could tell she was frustrated. And I had just got my change out of the machine and I just walked over and I handed him $2 and I was like, here. And then I walked away and he was like, the face light up. So excited. Life was so good in that moment. And I was just like, that was the easiest thing to do. It was so easy. But yet like, it's been years and it's still one of those moments that I look back on and I was like, that was so fun. So I encourage you, look around. I was going to say, that's the key, is if you're looking for those moments, especially during the holidays, because so many people will be like, I don't like Christmas. It's too commercialized. It's this and that.
It doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. So if you're out looking for, hey, how can I make this a great shopping trip? How can what can I do? Help me see some little thing. I guarantee you there is somebody in that store you can help. Like, somebody somewhere you can definitely help. So I had a gentleman offer the other day. I was buying 2 cartloads because we were having a big party at our house
2 cartloads of food. And they'd actually brought the second cart to me at checkout because they're like, we're not going to be able to get this back in the way you did. So we're going to have to do this in 2 carts. But this wonderful elderly gentleman behind me was like, can I help you out with that other cart? And it was funny because in my head I was thinking, man, this is so much easier than when I had 4 little kids and 2 carts. Like, and I was like, this will be cake to get out. And he offered, and I was like, just offering was the sweetest thing in the world. And I was like, thank you for noticing that this is a lot going on in my life. And I was like, I'm just about to really impress you with my skills of how to push 2 carts. And he just kind of chuckled and laughed. But it was like, it was just that he
just taking the time to offer.
And it just, I thought, thank you for noticing me and what I'm doing.
I'm a big believer in you find what you're looking for. So
especially
at Christmas time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
okay. So one last question for you. Do you believe that self-worth is constant, or do you believe it requires ongoing nurturing? Like once you've got it, you're like, oh yeah, I'm confident. So maybe Noah gets to that point. Is he like that from here on out, or what? What do you think?
Okay. So I believe once you have reached a level of understanding of who you are in front of God, you don't lose it unless you really mess things up. Yeah. Unless I make choices that are going to undermine that, you get to keep it. I think God gives it to you and you hold it. Now, does that mean you're not going to have moments of self-doubt? No. So, there are still moments when I write books and I wonder if I'm ever going to sell a copy of a book. Yeah. Like, not sell a copy, but like, is this going to be one that goes, or is this going to be one that flops? Is this am I even on the right track? Is this anything anybody's going to want to read, kind of a thing? And those questions still surface on some level, but they don't overwhelm me.
Right.
And I think when I first started putting books out, it was like, I felt like I was just shooting in the dark, like shooting arrows in the dark and having no idea where the target was. I've gained a lot of knowledge and confidence in my ability to write and my ability to market and my ability to all those kinds of things. So when the doubts come, they don't stop me. It's more of like I don't think of them as I can't do this. I think of them as okay, I need to understand this part of writing a book more, or this something, or do more research or something. They're no longer things I can't do. Right. It's like my confidence is that I can study it out now and do it. Does that make sense? A little bit different.
And I feel like maybe we don't linger in the self-doubt phase as long anymore. Like, I don't think I've ever written a book that I haven't, by the time I'm done actually writing it, that I'm like, I don't think this is good. I don't even know that this is a good story. I don't even know if it's coherent.
Do I have plot holes somewhere? Like,
and so it's usually after that, then I go back through it again, and I'm like, oh, okay, I do kind of like this, but I still have that. But I'm with you. It doesn't cripple me. Right. It doesn't, like, the fear doesn't paralyze me anymore. It like is just a moment. But I don't think I ever want to get to the point where I'm like, dang, I write something so good, the first draft every time. You know, like I always want to have that. I always want to have humility and be teachable.
Right. And have the hunger to write something good.
Yes.
But not the, no, I understand. So no, I don't think it's an in and out thing. I think once you gain that recognition that what you're doing is from God and that this is your path, that you get to keep that. Does that mean the path is smooth? No. Not really. Yeah. No, you're going to hit bumps. And I've been doing this for coming up on like 20 years. And
20 years?
17, like, I'm like 17 since I started self-publishing, and I was traditionally published before that for several years. So like forever, 20 years. And so the bumps in the road aren't as big as they used to be, like kind of a thing. But the whole market changes, and this is kind of a side road, okay? So when I first started, it was trad publish or nothing. Yeah. And then self-publishing came out, and honestly, I write so fast that my traditional publisher could not keep up with me. So I was like, I'm gonna have to write like 8 books in between the ones that my traditional publisher is doing, because I have so many stories I can't get them all out. Which meant that the only place I could put those would be self-publishing. So I went into self-publishing. And at the time, the world was like, self-publishing is going to ruin the whole book market. It's going to be awful, yada, yada. All these doomsdayers were saying how many jobs it was going to get rid of and all that stuff. And it's done the exact opposite. Like, I can't tell you how many people I know, well, because I'm in the business, work from home and are able to raise their children, be with their kids, be with their families, and run a business that is related to publishing in some way. So the number of jobs that it's created has been incredible. So that was kind of the first shift that I saw and watched as it happened. And then we've had more other shifts, like Amazon has changed how they do things, and so people have had to adjust to that. There's been new tools that have come out, like Novel Crafter, which is incredible for keeping track of series. In fact, we used it for this. Highly recommended. We don't even have an affiliate link. We should get one. Something like we should get paid for saying this, because I will praise Novel Crafter so much for helping us keep this series organized. That was the biggest thing, was as we were building and writing 8 books. Okay, what character does this? Who does that? Who runs the ice skating rink when
just
your books?
Building a town, who owns what store? Who,
and what's in your brain needed to be in Novel Crafter, so it could then be in my brain. And so it was so helpful.
So
that
many
way.
great tools.
Oh, and then like that you can outline on a different page. So many different wonderful things. So, I mean, there's been new tools that have been developed. There's been new ways to do things that speed up the process, all that kind of stuff. And so back when Amazon first made their first change, it was this, throw our hands in the air and what are we going to do, and da 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 da. And they've made several changes since then. And each time it gets easier to adapt. And each new tool that comes out, it gets easier to incorporate that into writing. And so, so I think when, if you have a roll with it kind of mentality, then life is easier and developing and using your talents is easier too. So all of that together. Sorry, that was a long roundabout. We're going to take a dirt road. We've given
everybody a lot to think about over their Thanksgiving meal, right?
So list all the things to be grateful for. Honestly, so many things to be grateful for. So
I know that I am so grateful for the technology that comes in, and like
I mean, doing a podcast even would not have happened 20 years ago. That wasn't even an option.
Right.
And now it's here, and here we are. So I just I'm grateful for that, and I'm amazed. So
So I guess we can wrap things up with just thinking about all the things we're grateful for on this beautiful Monday morning and going into Thanksgiving. I know that I have been working on being grateful, and I know you have too, over this past year. And so if you want to go back and listen to our podcast from last week, if this is the first one that you've listened to, and you want to go back and listen to our one on gratitude last week, that would be awesome, because it is all about gratitude too. So make sure you listen to that, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas on how to be thankful and express your gratitude this week for people around you. And I just gave a talk on Sunday, and I had a gentleman come up to me afterward, and he said, if I was going to write a bumper sticker, what would you say? And it caught me off guard, because I had given a talk on gratitude, and I said, gratitude is a superpower.
Amen.
And so that's how I feel. Going into Thanksgiving, I hope that you recognize that gratitude really is a superpower, and I'm grateful for this journey that we're on, the podcast, the angel books. The angel books have been so much fun, and I look forward to next time.
And I'm grateful for Shaylee. After having done this one solo, I am hoping she's back next week. So much gratitude. Say if it's a superpower, Shaylee, I'm just going to be thankful for you all week long.
Yes, that's very true.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we'll see you next Monday.